This is an intro to the Husqvarna s215 mechanical machine. I bought this in 1993, and to this day, it's currently 2023. It works perfectly. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this machine except that my daughter asked for it. Now, but I actually bought a second one, so I'm still covered. The number one thing is to keep it covered, because dust and light are the enemies to any type of machine. The other thing is you want to use it regularly. Just sitting around isn't good for a machine. So, try to pick it up and hem something or just run a stitch through it. I made this cover for it. Now, what you're going to see is that I've got it set up. It kind of tells you what the normal settings are. Like this is the pressure foot at about 4. This is tension. It's kind of got a little dial here that goes in a normal range. I have it around 5, something like that. If the stitch tension isn't quite right, you can adjust it. Look at your manual, and it's all online these days. This has a kind of this is a low shank presser foot. It just slides out, and always store things in your accessory box if they're not here. You don't want to just sit it on the table like that. That's not a good idea. Always put it back in its place. This just slides off so that you have a free arm, which allows you to put things like sleeves or pant legs in here and be able to sew in the round. Now, while I've got this open here, in my accessory box, there are a few things that you should always have in here. I've got a number of feet, but I'd say the majority of the time I just use the regular A, and I will use this zipper foot. That's useful too, and occasionally I'll use some of the other feet. Every sewing kit needs a brush, and it's important to maintain the dust free. So here's your bobbin case. When there's no bobbin thread in here, after every sewing project, just don't squish the dust in there. Just lightly brush it out and blow it. And that's really going to make a huge difference in your performance. The other thing I do that's super, super important is you've got so many different types of needles. Use the right type of needle for the right type of project. If it's a woven, you're going to use a universal. If it's a stretch, you're going to use some type of jersey or stretch needle. And then if you're going to do anything really thick, you're going to use what's called a jean needle. Always have these types of needles. And the needle that's in your machine, there's no particular marking, so you don't really know what it is. I keep all of my needles in a little baggie in my sewing kit. And the one that that's currently active, in this case, it's a universal. I put that one in my accessory tray, and I never have to wonder, is this a jersey? Because you can't remember what you were sewing last time. So if you always put it in here, then you know what it is. The other thing is that if it's a used needle, I turn it backwards, and if it's a fresh needle, I have it facing forward. And that's important because you want to get rid of used needles over time. And if you're having a particularly tricky fabric, you want to try a new needle. I've showed how to use this in another video, but this is the second bobbin you can use for twin needling. And you probably won't use this, but don't lose it either. This allows you to remove the bobbin case and also change your light bulb, the thick side. But if you're not going to do those things, don't use it because you're going to be stuck with that. Okay. This is how you wind a bobbin. I'm going to do a separate video for that. This is stitch width, stitch length. Normal is to have it around 2.5 to 3.5. What I really like about this machine is it lets you baste up to 6 inches. And basting is something I do all the time. When you're testing out a garment, you really don't want to use a small stitch because it's 3 times as many stitches you have to undo when it's not the right size. So always pre-sew your garment on a baste. And then when you've done all your fitting, then you can go back and do a finish smaller stitch. Now, it's got a variety of different stitches. The main ones I use are the buttonholes. I have a separate video on that. The straight stitches, the zigzag, and I love this stitch. It's a 3-part zigzag, and I have used this for all of my swimwear. The elastic edging that goes like around the leg holes or the top. Whenever you put elastic on, I would, in my case, serge the elastic on, then I'd flip it over and then slightly stretch and use this zigzag, and it makes a wonderful, beautiful looking stretch stitch for your swimwear or any of your, I guess you could use it for lingerie too. I also use the blind stitch, and I've never really used any of these orange stitches. Even to this day, I'm not exactly sure how to use them. This lets you choose the buttonhole, the orange stitches for those special stitches, and then this is also the feed dog. The other thing I use all the time is the reverse button, and that's right here. You just push this and it hits reverse. All right, those are the basics. I'm gonna make another video on how to thread the machine.